Kamen Rider Zeztz may be airing in America. New Ultraman Blu-ray releases announced and 4Ks. All this and more. I'm the Kaiju no Kami, and this is the Toku and Animation News Network. Remember to click like, subscribe, the bell notification, and whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support us. What's up everyone, Kaiju no Kami here, and there's been quite a bit of news in the last week. First off, I was enjoying Fan Expo Denver, kind of, sort of. You've seen the footage and the interviews. There's a couple more interviews coming out, well, 2 more coming out. And I mean, it wasn't the greatest, but you know what? I got to meet Bruce Campbell, which was awesome. I got to meet John Rhys Davies, who was freaking fantastic. Probably one of the best actors I've ever met. It took forever for his autographs to go through, but that's because he was holding a conversation with every single person in line. And yeah, it was kind of annoying, especially because I was in the autograph line for nearly 3 hours. But when I actually got there, I had him sign my Tales from the Crypt book. And he started talking about his memories of the Tales from the Crypt episode, which was pretty awesome. Bruce Campbell was fun to meet. When we went to his photo shoot, he was greeting everyone, shaking their hands. It was pretty funny the way he did ours, because he's like, oh, we don't need him in the photo, and like went over to Corellica. And then we met Martin Cove, who also was pretty cool. Well, again, I had him sign my Tales from the Crypt book, and he was talking about his memories from that episode that he did. So it was a really good time for some aspects. The convention itself was an utter nightmare of a mess. There were things I didn't even know where they were located until a couple days after the convention. Like usually there's this cosplay runway they have on the 2nd floor, and it wasn't there this year. It turns out it was on like the bottom floor, which was weird, and I didn't see any signage to specify such. It's a fan expo. The layout was horrific. Usually they have the celebrities in like a rectangular shape so that everyone is confined to that area. This year they decided to do some weird L-shaped thing. So you're like going like to get to the celebrities, which were really cluttered areas that should not have been cluttered. The food court was reduced to a third of what it used to be, size-wise. And they had other sections of the convention center closed off. And I don't understand this convention. They changed the layout from what it has been for the last several years, for the most part for the last 10 years. And whatever. Anyway, Toku news. Oh yes, so we're sitting at dinner at this one restaurant called Henry's Tavern, and I pull up my phone and I pull out some announcements, and I see Kamen Rider Zeztz. Apparently Toei has announced that Zeztz will be airing in America, well, streaming in America, along with some other countries. They didn't say when, they didn't give any details. They said details to follow. The series will air in Japan in September with details on these following places, which is pretty awesome, except I have one worry. I'm worried that it's going to be like a month delay between the Japanese release to when America gets it, which, I mean, it will be great that we get it. However, the concern is if there's like a month delay, then most people are probably not going to watch it streamed legally. They'll still just go ahead with the fan subs, because you know fan subbers are still going to tackle it. So that's the only worry I have. I really do hope it's done like Ultraman, where it's simulcasted, or at most 1-2 weeks behind, but not a month. But still, Zeztz coming to America as it's airing in Japan, that's going to be awesome. I just hope it's not on Crunchyroll, because fuck Crunchyroll. Speaking of which, I don't know if you guys saw this, but apparently there are subtitles in one of the new releases from Crunchyroll this season where it actually says ChatGPT said and then gives the line, because Crunchyroll is so freaking lazy. They're just letting AI do their subtitles from now on. Like, what the fuck? That shit. Get your lazy asses out of bed and hire some goddamn translators. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Other news from G-Fest this weekend. Mill Creek made some new announcements. Some, like, mind-blowing announcements. First, they did announce that Ultraman Towards the Future and Ultraman The Ultimate Hero, or Great and Powered if you go by the Japanese names, will be coming out to Blu-ray early next year. It's kind of cool. I know people have been wanting these for a while. I was not a fan of these shows, but you know what? Owning them will be kind of cool. I will do Blu-ray releases. I might do what I was doing with some other stuff and do a combined review of them, because those reviews were kind of short enough. It probably won't matter. And then they announced that Ultraman Arc will be coming out in, I think, October this year, which will include both the series and the movie. I'm assuming the English dub. And the big ones. Next summer, July of next year, they're bringing Ultraman to 4K. And for those who love the dubs, they said that the original English dub will be included in the 4K release. I know there were people that were disappointed the dub was not included on the Blu-ray. So here you go. You're finally going to get your English dub. Which I personally don't care about, but I am happy for those who have been wanting the dub for a while, or those who can't do subtitles, because it is pretty awesome to be able to have both audio tracks. I am curious as how they're going to handle it, since there were scenes cut out of the Japanese version in the dub. So yeah, that's going to be a bit strange to figure out how they're going to do that. Maybe it just goes, the audio just shuts off or goes into Japanese for those few scenes. I have no idea. I don't know how it's going to be done. They didn't say, but the English dub will be included. And then in September of next year, Ultra 7 is coming to 4K. Yes. Sadly, episode 12 still won't be included. It is what it is. The cool thing is, I was actually thinking about a few weeks ago if I should re-review Ultraman and Ultra 7 next year, since they were my first Ultraman reviews and not my greatest. And there were things I could say more about the series today than I did back then, or make Ultra 7 less offensive for certain people that didn't like the way I approached my thoughts on episode 12 being missing. But I was considering on re-reviewing them, and this pretty much seals that. Let's re-review them. The hard part's going to be how to handle the 4K, because I don't have any way to rip 4K discs, because I just have a Blu-ray drive. I don't know if there is a 4K drive out yet. And I don't know if Make MKV can rip 4K discs. Not to mention, I'm going to need a big hard drive to rip 4K discs. But either way, the plan is to rip or to re-review Ultraman Ultra 7 next year when the 4K releases come out. They also said they're going to release some documentary called, I think, 4 Generations of Ultraman. Not exactly sure how it's 4 generations, but okay. Sure, why not? Now, speaking of Ultraman, okay, here's the one thing I'm fearing with Towards the Future and the Ultimate Hero. If you did not know, they just released The Adventure Begins on Blu-ray, which I was not given any review copy. Supposedly, that's actually because Mill Creek was changing over their review copy system. So I may get a review copy after we have moved out to Florida, which is next week. Holy crap. But The Adventure Begins advertised it was going to include The Adventures Begins, USA in English and USA in Japanese. Now, the general assumption was The Adventure Begins would be the Hanna-Barbera dub from the way they advertised. USA would be the new English dub, and obviously the Japanese version. Well, turns out they did not include the Hanna-Barbera dub because they could not acquire the rights for it, which, fine, fair enough. There's issues with Hanna-Barbera. Okay, you made a new dub, makes sense. Then why advertise that you have included The Adventure Begins when it's not truly The Adventure Begins? I don't know. But then they didn't put subtitles on the Japanese track, which defies the whole point of there even being the Japanese track included. And why did they not specify this? They could have just said, we're including the Japanese version as a bonus feature, but there will be no subtitles included. No, they never said anything of the sort. They just said the Japanese version will be included, but they never said the fact that there would be no subtitles. That right there is pretty damn shady. So, okay. I am not thrilled by that one bit. And Mill Creek's reasoning was, oh, well, we weren't provided by subtitles from Tsuburaya, so that's why we didn't include them. Yeah. Just because you weren't given the subtitle translations does not mean you don't do the frickin' work yourself. Now, some have said, well, the least it could do was include dub titles or AI translated subs, but here's the thing. If they had done either of those, they would have still gotten flack. Although, I guess on the positive side, even if they were AI translated subs or dub titles, at least you could still enjoy the Japanese version and have subtitles that are mostly accurate there, or somewhat accurate, because dubs these days usually try to be as accurate to the script as they possibly can. But why didn't you just do that? Yeah, you would have taken flack for that, but it would have been better than no subtitles. So yeah, Mill Creek, I'm sorry guys, you're kind of cranking out the stupid right now. So I'm fearing that Towards the Future and The Ultimate Hero, while they will include the English version, will have no subtitles for the Japanese version, if the Japanese version is included. I think it would be foolish to not include the Japanese version, because I'm sure there are people who would love to see it, especially because the Japanese version has different openings and closings, has traditional Japanese opening and closings, whereas the English language ones did not. But we'll see how it goes, because if they include the Japanese track, they better include frickin' subtitles. Got it, Mill Creek? Include subtitles. Subtitles. Alright. But yeah, that's the fear about these two releases, is if they do include the Japanese version, they're not going to sub them. They're going to kind of botch the release like they did with The Adventure Begins. Which, because of that, I personally will not pay for it right now. I will, maybe if it was $5, but we'll see. Maybe I will get a review copy based on what they were saying. I guess I'll find out when we get to Florida. And that's pretty much all I've got for news this week. There is a pretty cool Sentai thing coming out, a Sentai Mahjong set, which looks kind of awesome. I would actually really, I don't know, I actually kind of want that. I kind of want the Mahjong set, but I don't know if I want to spend the money on something I probably wouldn't actually play. But I do kind of want it. Also, if you did not see, we did do a live stream discussion of Ultraman Omega Episode 1 last week. The original plan was to do a live stream viewing of it, but then we had all kinds of technical issues. I had the Yeti mic wasn't working for some reason, and then So, and when you do a live stream on YouTube, you can't change the audio output midstream. So instead of being able to just unplug the Yeti and change it to default audio from a laptop, nope, I had to stop the live stream and then redo it. But then we had another issue and audio still wasn't happening, so we took that off. And then by then I was really ticked off because then I found out my computer wasn't connecting, like no Wi-Fi was showing up on my regular computer. So a whole lot of stuff happened. So finally, after like an hour of frustration, we just watched the episode and then did a live stream discussion of the first episode. We're not going to have time to tackle episode 2 nor episode 3 before we move. So right now the plan will probably be in the second week after we have moved. So first week, early August, maybe the end of July ish, we'll watch episodes, well, we'll rewatch episode 1 and then do 2, 3, and 4, and then do a live stream discussion of episodes 2 to 4. I did like what I have seen so far. It did seem a bit unique. I liked the monster designs. I'm still not completely sold on Omega's design, but I liked how it started. I liked that that they're in a world that has not been attacked by kaiju before, so this is brand new to them. So I'm curious to see how things develop. Other than that, there's not much else I think to talk about. We will try to do something golf related after we have moved. Well, Silver Quill is with us in Florida because he's helping us drive the car. No guarantees though, but we'll try to do something because we're also going to see Fantastic Four out there. And I'm seeing Superman tonight, so I should have a quickie review sometime out at the end of the week. I am currently my whole thought went like, phew. I am currently editing Jan Person as I speak, and I kind of mean that literally. Like, I took a break from Jan Person to record this video and my Godzilla comic review for tomorrow. So I am currently doing Jan Person. That I am hoping to have out by the end of the week. I am about halfway through the editing process. I do want that out before we move, and I'm still planning to get Time Ranger out during the week we move to have it fully edited next weekend before we finish packing everything up. And my plans to have Shin Kamen Rider Prologue out before we move is probably not going to happen, just because everything has just been moving at such a fast pace. I've also been debating for conventions if it's really worth doing press media at conventions. I mean, for one thing, it's getting harder and harder to do interviews because voice actors and guests just don't want to do interviews unless you're a big nationwide outlet. And then putting in all that work to do an interview with trying to research the person, sometimes the research being incorrect, just makes it kind of a hassle, it feels like, to even do press. And some conventions, they don't even really tell you what their expectation is of you doing press, because there's the same rewards. You know me, I do videos, I do that compilation video. I sometimes, if I can, do panels, which we did not get to attend any panels at Fan Expo this year. We do interviews if possible. And I maybe make $20-ish in ad revenue on all that coverage. So all that time spent, all that money on food, parking, gas. If we stay at a hotel, the hotel costs. Just to make $20 is it really worth it? And then there's also the aspect of, so I do all this video stuff. I am rewarded the exact same as an outlet that does a single blog page that has like maybe 5-6 pictures on it that they just talk about their experience. Conventions don't actually care. Most. There are some that do, but most conventions don't actually care about your coverage. They don't do anything to promote your coverage. So it's starting to get to like, is it really worth doing press media at conventions anymore? It was a fun time for 10 years, well, 9 years, I guess technically. It was fun doing it, but now it's like, yeah, is it really worth it? I liked it. I like that it gives me early access to stuff, but maybe it's not worth doing. Maybe I should look into other ways. Maybe I should do, for like, if it's Fan Expo, maybe buying a table, because there's a lot of podcasters that will just have a table to promote their business. Maybe I should do that at some conventions instead of doing the press aspect. Don't know. I'll see how it goes. But right now it's getting really... Well, I'm currently rethinking on how I want to approach the convention scene. I love going to conventions. I love covering conventions. But at the same time, it's starting to just be a hassle. I don't know. We'll see. Perhaps moving to Florida is the best time now to rethink the method of approaching conventions. We will do Ranger Stop this year. Probably, I don't know yet. I don't even know if Ranger Stop does press media, so it might just be going to Ranger Stop as regular attendees. I'll figure that out later, which might not be a bad thing. I'll figure it out. But anyway, that's all I've got. Soul Brain and Kamen Rider X are on their way from Discotheque. They should be getting here. Well, right now the tracking number says they'll arrive Thursday. We'll see if that really is the case. But what are you excited for? Which Ultraman release are you most excited that was announced this past weekend? What did you think of the Zeztz announcement of being simulcasted? Let's hope it's true and not too far of a gap between Japanese and American releases. Let me know in the comments. Click like, subscribe to the bell notification, whatever else YouTube has you clicking to support me. You can support me on Patreon and Bluesky at Toku Network, Facebook, Instagram, Discord at Kaiju no Kami. The website is creativitybydesign.com. There's a link on YouTube to buy Kaiju no Kami merchandise, even though it's kind of like put away. So if you buy something, it's going to be a little bit before it ships. And then there is a GoFundMe for both health and channel purposes, to help the channel survive and for health stuff. If you could support one of those, that would be great. And until next time, bye.